For decades, the name Seagal meant one thing: bone-crunching Hollywood action. It was a brand built on Aikido, broken wrists, and blockbuster films that defined an era. But the next chapter of that legacy isn't being written on a movie set. It's being forged inside a WWE ring. On August 12, 2025, the wrestling world was stunned when Steven Seagal's daughter, Arissa LeBrock, made a dramatic and shocking debut on Monday Night Raw. But to truly understand why that moment sent shockwaves through the entire industry, you have to know the incredible story that happened before the cameras were on. It's a story of overcoming a devastating injury, the immense shadows of her famous parents, and a brutal comeback that proves she is far more than just a name. This is the untold story of Arissa LeBrock's brutal journey and the dramatic WWE debut that just changed everything. This was the scene on Monday Night Raw. The formidable and utterly despised Women's World Champion, Victoria Blackwood, stood in the ring, gold draped over her shoulder. She'd just decimated another opponent and grabbed a mic, her voice dripping with contempt. She declared there was no one left. No one in the back, no one on the roster, and no one on this planet with the guts to face her. The crowd booed, but a part of them knew she might be right. Then, the lights went dark. A moment of silence hung in the air, thick with anticipation. A new, unfamiliar theme song hit the speakers. Something gritty, intense, and dangerous. On the ramp, a silhouette appeared, backlit by a single spotlight. It was a woman, tall and athletic, with an aura of unshakable confidence. The commentators were speechless. Who was this? She walked down the ramp with a purpose that screamed danger. No playing to the crowd, no smiling. Her eyes were locked on the champion. She slid under the bottom rope, and the arena got a clear look at her. There was a different kind of training in her posture, a different kind of fight in her eyes. Victoria Blackwood, the unbeatable champion, looked concerned. "Who in the hell do you think you are?" she snarled. The mysterious woman said nothing. She simply took a fighting stance, one that wasn't from a wrestling playbook. It was lower, more grounded. It was the stance of a martial artist. Blackwood scoffed and lunged, but what happened next was a blur. In a sequence that looked more like a real fight than a wrestling match, the challenger used Blackwood's momentum against her, redirecting the attack with a fluid wrist lock that sent the champion stumbling. Blackwood, furious and embarrassed, charged again. This time, the mysterious woman executed a perfect Aikido throw, a move rarely seen in a WWE ring. The commentators were losing their minds. "That's not wrestling, that's pure, unadulterated martial arts. Who is this woman?" As she stood over the fallen champion, the Titantron flashed a name: Arissa LeBrock. The commentators exploded. LeBrock? As in Kelly LeBrock? As in Steven Seagal's daughter? The reveal sent a shockwave through the arena and across social media. This wasn't just a new wrestler. This was Hollywood royalty with a legitimate, dangerous pedigree. To understand why this moment was so electric, you have to understand the journey that led to it. Arissa LeBrock wasn't just born with a silver spoon. She was born with a target on her back, caught between two iconic but vastly different worlds. Her mother is Kelly LeBrock, the supermodel and actress who was the definitive dream girl of the 1980s. Her father, of course, is Steven Seagal, the action megastar whose brand of martial arts made him a household name. Growing up with that lineage meant living under an immense shadow. Every choice would be measured against the colossal fame of her parents. Instead of riding their coattails, Arissa carved her own path. First, she stepped into her mother's world on her own terms, becoming a successful plus-size model. She appeared in major ad campaigns and was featured on the reality show Growing Up Supermodel, using her platform to champion body positivity. But while she was making waves on the runway, a different fire was burning inside her, a passion that connected more to her father's world, yet was entirely her own. Arissa began seriously training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This wasn't a celebrity hobby. She was a dedicated and legitimate competitor. She trained at the Paragon Jiu-Jitsu and Kickboxing Academy, earning respect and building a foundation of real combat skill. It was this unique blend of her mother's charisma and her father's combat discipline that set the stage for her leap into professional wrestling. Back in December 2019, the news broke that Arissa LeBrock was getting a WWE tryout at the Performance Center in Orlando. It made perfect sense. She had the look, the charisma, the athletic background, and a famous name. For a moment, her path seemed set. An NXT contract and an eventual main roster debut felt almost inevitable. But the world of pro wrestling is notoriously unforgiving. After the tryout, Arissa didn't get a contract. Instead, she got something far worse, a serious injury that brought her momentum to a screeching halt. The dream that had been so close was suddenly ripped away. The business she wanted to conquer had rejected her in the most brutal way possible. For most people, that would have been the end of the story. The journey was over. She disappeared from the wrestling radar, admitting later that she had fallen into a deep, dark place. In a 2023 video, LeBrock said, "I had become comfortable in the darkest, worst place in my life." It was a candid admission of the mental and physical toll the setback had taken. The dream didn't just feel deferred, it felt like it had died. The best wrestling stories are stories of redemption. While Arissa was in that dark place, her body broken and her spirit bruised, her phone rang. On the other end was a voice that understood struggle and the immense weight of a famous last name. It was Dustin Rhodes. Dustin isn't just some trainer, he's wrestling royalty. As the son of the legendary American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and the half-brother of Cody Rhodes, Dustin has spent his entire life in the business. He knows what it takes to survive, and he knows how to build a wrestler from the ground up. That phone call was a lifeline, a second chance. Arissa packed her bags and moved to Texas, ready to give every last ounce of herself to the one thing she couldn't let go of. In her words, "When I got the call from Dustin, I realized that it was time for me to give every ounce of passion within me to professional wrestling." The training at the Rhodes Wrestling Academy was grueling. It wasn't about her famous name. It was about reps, drills, and the painful process of learning to trust her body again. Dustin Rhodes saw her potential immediately, later saying, "She's doing a great job. Pretty soon the whole world's going to be talking about Arissa LeBrock." He helped her integrate her BJJ and martial arts into a unique hybrid wrestling style. After months of relentless hard work, Arissa graduated and competed in the Academy's student showcase. It wasn't Raw or SmackDown. It was an intimate setting where she truly earned her stripes. When the bell rang, it was clear this was not a gimmick. And when her arm was raised in victory, it was a quiet, powerful moment of vindication. And that brings us back to that ring on Monday Night Raw. The reason Arissa's debut against Victoria Blackwood was so powerful is because it's the culmination of this very real, very difficult journey. When she stepped into that ring, she carried the weight of her legacy, the pain of her injury, the darkness she overcame, and the grit she forged under Dustin Rhodes. The audience wasn't just seeing a new superstar, they were seeing her entire backstory in her eyes. The clash of styles was instant storytelling. The champion, Victoria Blackwood, is a polished WWE superstar. Arissa is the opposite, an authentic, legitimate fighter who earned her spot the hard way. The use of Aikido in her debut was a critical and brilliant narrative beat. It was a direct, undeniable nod to her father, Steven Seagal. But it wasn't a cheap imitation. In Arissa's hands, it was a practical, effective weapon. It was her way of saying, "Yes, this is my legacy, but I am the one who perfected it for this arena." Her arrival puts the entire women's division on notice. Her presence forces everyone to adapt. How will a high flyer like Io Sky deal with an opponent who can snatch a submission out of midair? How will a powerhouse like Rhea Ripley handle an adversary who uses her own strength and momentum against her? That confrontation in particular writes itself. It's a classic power versus technique story, a modern-day clash of titans that could easily headline a premium live event. Arissa LeBrock's real journey proves that a legacy isn't just what you're given, it's what you build. She refused to be defined by her famous name and instead built her career on grit and authenticity. The fighting spirit she inherited wasn't for the movies, it's for the unforgiving world of professional wrestling, a world she has earned the right to dominate. Her shocking debut wasn't just a fantasy scenario, it was the real deal. It was the arrival of a force of nature who fought through hell to get there. The story of her fall, her rise, and her redemption is what made that moment so powerful. The question was never if Arissa LeBrock was ready for WWE. The real question was if WWE was ready for her. With a mind for the business forged by a Rhodes and a martial arts foundation built by a Seagal, she represents a new kind of star. And her arrival is a shock to the system. What did you think of Arissa LeBrock's debut? What dream matches do you want to see for her now that she's in WWE? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this look at one of wrestling's most intriguing new stars, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more.